Okay, being 5:15, I will call the Economic Development Committee meeting for January 28th to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remove your hats. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call has been taken.
Yes.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda, the amended agenda that was just sent out the other day.
Make a motion to adopt.
Second. Sorry. Okay, motion made by Bill, seconded by April. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I would entertain a motion to approve the December 10th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
So motion made by John, seconded by Hans. Any discussion? I just want to note that these minutes have already been presented to council at the December meeting. They were presented. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Any public comment? Did you sign in? Thank you. Public comment? Public comment. Hearing none, we will move on to review the downtown facade grant, improvement grant, and consider renewing the program for 2025. And Chad has some information for us.
All right, to start the conversation, I'm going to refer to my memo here. Let's look back at 2024 first to see how our facade improvement grant performed. So if you recall, the committee budgeted $40,000 for the program. Over the year, we received 9 facade grant applications. 2 were not approved initially because those individuals submitted work after, or submitted the application after the work was already complete. And per our grant guidelines, it specifies that all the application and the grant must be approved and awarded before any work is complete. And that's to basically make sure that all the terms are agreed upon and all the expectations are upfront, are agreed upon upfront, so that the applicants know if their grants are approved before they do the work. So 2 of them were not approved upfront. Out of the other 7, I did approve 7 of the facade grants. In the end, only 5 submitted reimbursement grant paperwork. So 2 of them that were approved did not fulfill the construction. So you can see I have a list on the screen showing the locations where the grant was awarded and the reimbursements occurred. I'll just tell the names because it's easier than just calling off the addresses for people. So Mindful Movement Yoga, they had a grant reimbursement of $700 for a new door and with signage at their facility. Jolly Rogers, you might have noticed that Jolly Rogers and Jolly Bob's, they worked on the fire escape balcony and replaced a bunch of windows. So they had a $4,000 grant for that work. Rivers Edge Salon had a $4,000 grant approved for a roof replacement at their location. Events Everlasting did some facade work. They did some lighting, signage, and replaced some of the old wood that was in the front awning. So their grant reimbursement was for $3,620.25. And then the location at 504 North Water Street, currently leased by QPS. That location had a $3,250 grant for stucco painting. So overall, we awarded reimbursements totaling $15,570.25 for encouraging improvements in the downtown district. Total investments, if you add in what the private sector invested in their downtown, those total improvements equaled $29,040.50. So that's how the facade grant performed in 2024. So at this point, I thought it'd be a good idea to start conversations about the grant in 2025 because this committee renews that grant on a yearly basis. I've had at least 2, if not 3 property owners already just in the last month or 2 inquire about the grant because there's interest in doing more facade work and improvements in the downtown district, which is very encouraging. So I'd like to have the committee start considering the renewal of the program. If the committee wants to renew the program as is, like we did last year, or make changes, now's the time to kind of flush that out. One aspect I want to point out during our discussion is that last year we modified the grant in that previous to that, a grantee was eligible for a grant once every 5 years if they were awarded a grant. We put an exemption in there last year that anyone in the downtown construction project was exempt from that 5-year window to encourage more improvements along the construction route. So it's up to the committee whether you want to do that, whether you want to leave that exemption out, or you want to modify that exemption. Do you want to get rid of the exemption, get rid of the time frame of 5 years? I mean, we've got $40,000. We haven't been hitting that, in the last couple of years. So do you want to reduce this to 3 years? Do you want to reduce that requirement to just encourage people to do developments over and over? Items
Chad,
that we can consider.
Have we ever maxed out? Or have we ever hit the amount that we had budgeted?
Not that I can recall, but I'd have to look back at all the grants in the past. Since I've been the city administrator, last 4 years, no. Prior to that, with previous city administrators before my time managing it, I couldn't say. But at least in the last 4 years, we have not maxed out.
Does it matter what side of the building the facade grant is? Or is it, I'm trying to look through here, does it show Main Street only, or does this include Riverside?
So in the application, one of the pages, we do have a map. So this is the current eligible district for the grant. On PC quick, so people can see. So this, the colored area is the eligible area for our downtown facade improvement grant. So it doesn't have to be the front street side. It can be the back street, it can be on the sides, it can be whatever facade you want to look at.
Have we ever had anybody question? Does everybody know that?
It's in the,
They know that it could be on either side of the building, or I used it for a roof.
Yep.
Okay.
I believe here, eligible activities includes facade renovations, signage, awnings, code enforcement, structural repairs, exterior building infrastructure,
Oh,
like outside plumbing, electrical, roofing, cabling, exterior lighting, and then leaseholder improvements, if there's signage or something like that. So that's, if they read through or if they have questions, I can answer them, but that is specified in the grant application.
I just want to point out too that I find this program very helpful and useful because the #1 request that I get when I visit businesses is there any support or help, grants, funds, to help with my business. So I love that this is in place so that I can share this with businesses.
And we hear quite a few communities have downtown facade grant programs. We go to Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, some of their networking and meetings and stuff like that. And there's quite a few communities that talk about their facade program. They fund it in different ways, but a lot of them have it in some capacity.
when you go to some communities and they do a downtown renovation similar to what we did, a lot of the buildings really start to have a theme, a similar look, style, color. How do they do that? Is that through a facade grant? Or do you know?
Possibly.
Like, would you give more if you said, okay, if you went to this style, this color, we would double or something like that? Because some of them are really common themed.
We haven't got that detailed into that part of it to specify exactly how to do it. We just want to see improvements overall. What comes to mind, and April maybe kick in, that sounds like maybe that's something that a Main Street coordinator works on. There's communities that are in the Main Street program and they have a
Is that similar
dedicated
to what
person.
Walmart has, like a covenant where they have to have the similar exterior in that area? Is that what you're kind of referring to? It's kind of like a cookie cutter
Yeah, I just know that if you go through, yeah, like Dunkin' Donuts get the same color, McDonald's had the same colors. I know when you go to certain communities and they do a revamp, that it's very similarly looked or color schemed, and I was just curious how or why, or,
I think it's all over the board how people do this.
oh,
You know, so some communities have a little bit more details on what they would fund, you know, if they, to get the funding, you have to do this or that. I'm sure that's out there, but we would have to do a little bit more research to see exactly what communities do. And, you know,
I think, my opinion, we should continue on with this.
Mhm.
Maybe market it better if we're not hitting our numbers. To Hans's question, maybe. I don't know how we could, but
I like the idea of going to 3 years, every 3 years instead of 5.
I guess I'll preface my thoughts with the fact that I have a conflict and I wouldn't be voting on this. And I suspect at some point my employer will ask for a grant if they haven't already. But I would be in favor of just doing away with the requirement
Yeah.
for the 5-year or 3-year time frame. I mean, if we were maxing out on the money, that would be one thing. Then it would be an issue of, are we spreading it out correctly and giving everybody a chance? Well, that's not an issue here.
Mhm.
And so if we look at the purpose of it, the purpose of it is to try to beautify our downtown. And if there are people that are willing to put the money into it, because it is a matching grant, if there are people that want to put the money into it, I think that we should allow them to do it and encourage them to do it. So if they come back year after year and they're spending the money, great. I mean, if we find out that all of a sudden there's not enough money and there's other people that are being shut out of the opportunity because somebody keeps coming back year after year, well, then maybe we revisit it.
Mhm.
But if that hasn't been an issue and we didn't even use half of what we had allotted this year, I think we should open it up, try to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish.
I agree with Hans. It's just better for our community.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, like, even if it's just for 2025, and we have to take a look at it again in 2026 as to what's going on. Because we've got a lot of people now that potentially, I can't really say, we have a lot of businesses who have not taken advantage of this, who now that the downtown is done and they're not dealing with the construction and they know what's happened down there and what it looks like, may want to take a look at this. Or may want to do more with their buildings at this point. So at least for 2025, I would be in total support of that and looking at it again in 2026 or 2027. And like Hans said, if we're not utilizing all the funds,
Mhm.
then let's just keep it open.
Chad, have you found that people say, well, shoot, if we could get more than $4,000, we would do more? I mean, have you heard that? The people that are approved, that they're deferring projects that they would like to take on because they're limited only to the 4,000?
I've heard, if you recall, it wasn't too long ago that this was a $2,000 matching grant. Once it went to 4,000, that sparked more interest. Obviously, the more would spark more interest. I mean, you keep on going to 5, 10, whatever thousand. I mean, that would spark additional people doing it. I think 4,000 going from 2,000 to 4,000, I saw more interest in that. You know, what the magic price point would be to get somebody to jump in and do something.
I mean, I guess if all nine that applied would have been approved and they all maxed it out at 4, we would have been awfully close
Mhm.
to 40,000.
Should we consider maybe putting something in there like say next year if we get a huge spark note downtown's done and you get too many people,
Mhm.
and let's just say some business did it already last year, do we put some stipulation in there where new ones get not first rights but priority over somebody that's gonna do it every year?
That's a good point. If
I
there's
like
left
that
over,
wording
if there,
a little
yeah,
Yes.
if there's excess, then it would be
Yeah,
redistributed.
Caveat.
I think we had discussed that last time too, about basically creating a deadline for applications and then after that, if there are excess funds, kind of opening it up to everybody.
You took the words out of my mouth. I was waiting for the pause to kind of talk about that. Yes, so last year was the first time we started with the initial application process, and last year we had a due date of the end of March to do that. That was the initial evaluation. And then to your point, yes, whatever was left over of that, it was first come, first served. So I like to continue that as well, just have an initial application process that all of a sudden, if we have 20 applicants, for our first due date, we can rank them. Oh, did you get one last year? Well, we're going to prioritize the ones that didn't get it yet and just go from there. But if we only had 10 applicants and we've got enough funding, even if you got one last year, so be it. The point of this is to try to encourage more growth and more improvements in the downtown. So I totally would support if we want to eliminate to go from 5 years to remove that stipulation. And then we can just roll that into our initial grant application. We're gonna have to rank them if we get too many applications after that first round. And we can just say we're gonna prioritize the ones that didn't get one the previous year and go from there. I think that's totally good way to go.
So I do have a question because we've got the New London Community Fund that we should be getting updates on soon. How can these two tie together or be completely separated? How can we deal with that? How will we deal with that?
I am not familiar with what the grant specifications will be for the community fund yet.
Okay,
So,
Are you referring to Van Alsten's?
yes,
yeah,
I think it's for nonprofit
that's
support,
yeah.
nonprofit support.
my thought was gonna be the same thing. That's gonna be more of a nonprofit. So it wouldn't, private businesses more than likely will not be eligible for that. But I didn't want to say it because I don't know for sure. I'm assuming that that's their,
Pretty sure that's when she gave that, that overview at the board meeting. What I
you can
recall.
ask them next month because they are coming.
Yeah,
I was
there you
gonna
Okay, good.
talk about that later.
Fine.
They're coming next month to
okay.
present.
That was just a curiosity and how those two would work together or not.
How did we derive the 40,000?
Mhm.
How did that number come about?
I think we were running with 20,000, I think, for a while. And then I think when we went to 4,000, we bumped it up to 40,000 just to make sure we had enough money for a good amount of grant applications and awards. But the council probably knows this a little bit more, but we have our economic development operating budget, which we have operating things that happen within that. But then we also have a reserve fund. And we build that reserve fund every year a little bit. The council will get some recommendations, and how we fund that is that if 2024, we're going through our 2024 budget, if there's leftover funds, either we didn't spend enough or we brought in more revenue that we anticipated, if there's leftover funds in our previous year budget, the council will designate that money to go in some certain areas of programs. One of the areas that has been typically put some money into is our economic development reserve fund, which one of the things we fund out of that reserve fund is this program. So in the next month or two, Judy will be bringing a recommendation. Hey, we got this pot left from last year. We're going to make recommendations to put it here, put it here, put it here. Fund these equipment purchases, things like that.
So if we, out of 40, and hypothetically we use 20, are we gonna replenish 40 or are we only replenishing 20 this year? So is this fund growing or is it always, it's gonna get capped out and put in? So, or can it grow? Because if we can increase it and we have the capacity, I think if we can,
It's basically however much the council wants to put into it. That is something that Judy reports on every month at the finance committee meeting. So you can see here in 2020, this was the December report. So we started with 158,000 We had 22,570, and there was something else in the downtown facade. It wasn't just facade grants. There was something else in there too. She's just got it categorized as downtown facade. And then there was the $50,000 that we earmarked to piggyback with the Wapaka County Economic Development. They were going for that grant, that state grant. So that's that $50,000 that we got earmarked. Hasn't been spent yet. It's just sitting in there yet. So at year end, we still have that $50,000 in there, but we're about at $85,000 that we can commit to other things. Now, Judy will make a recommendation. We'll probably try to get back up to that $150,000, $200,000 mark to keep that reserve fund at around that 150, 200,000. But this is your money that you get to use for projects that come up. If we do a downtown, or if we do a hotel feasibility study like we've been talking about, this is the pot of money that we would probably kind of use for that.
Billboards come out of there,
What's that?
correct? The billboard funds come out of
That's the
there?
other thing, the downtown facade. So
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So this was, the expenditures were downtown facade plus the billboard money came out of here. That was the digital billboard and
And the
highway
wrap.
45 wrap. So that's the other point of that for the expenditure hearing. Thank you.
Icons is to eliminate the waiting period. Because the folks who do the upgrades are probably more interested in doing more upgrades, and they maybe only budget only allowed a certain amount.
And honestly, hopefully that's just spurs other people
Right.
to get on the bandwagon.
Right,
You know?
yeah, it's gotta be reasonable.
So what I'm hearing right now is that the committee's considering just removing the stipulation of the 5-year wait period, becoming eligible for a grant. Is there anything else?
I would just put a clause in there about the consideration.
I'll put something in here, priority will be based on, rather than priority will be based on if you've got a grant in the past.
Yeah.
Yep, I can put something like that, just so it's clear. that people-
Yeah. Yeah, priority will go to previous non-grant recipients.
There you go.
I like that, so, okay. And then we can bring that back and vote on it next month?
Um,
Or
if
do
you
you
want to
wanna-
make those changes, I would almost, and if you want to do a $40,000, we can make that as a second motion, but I would probably get this going because people are probably starting to think about summer
Right.
projects. So I'd like to start getting this advertised sooner than later, especially if we try to do an early initial due date. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't make the motion to forward this to council with those couple changes for consideration. And then the next motion could be how much you want to earmark towards the program,
Could it all be one motion?
if you want. I mean, you could.
So
Okay.
just to clarify, if this goes into effect, then are we gonna have that like a March 2025 due date for applications for the year?
Somewhere probably end of March if I start advertising now. That gives people 2 months,
Gotta get it on
unless you feel like we want to put it out until April, but I think people want to kind of get an idea that if they got the grant award, they can kind of plan.
Yeah, we could always extend it if need be, I would
Yeah.
think.
How do you advertise it?
We put it on Facebook. We partner with the chamber. The chamber's put it out there. If I'm at chamber networking meetings, I promoted it.
Do you also in those communications share the geographic eligibility? And to tell you the truth, when you showed that map, I was kind of surprised.
It's in the application.
But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily think of all of that geographic location as kind of the downtown business district.
Mhm.
So just so other folks are aware that they may be eligible, they might think they're not.
Mhm.
I guess is my point.
That was expanded. We modified that in September of 2021. So that's when this district was defined, who was eligible.
I guess I'll make a motion to
replenish the building facade grant to $40,000 and remove the time limitation of every 5 years. Add a verbiage to give priority to new applicants.
We have a motion by John and a second by April. Is there any more discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Abstain.
And two abs, yeah, three abstentions. Okay.
Tim and Bill abstain.
Does that motion prohibit me from making an application at any time in the future? I have no plans at this time, but
Honestly, you're in that district too.
Just don't do it in the next 12 months, I guess. Or in 2025.
well, they're gonna be redoing the trail, so it might be a good time to do some improvements
I
back.
probably
Maybe-
wouldn't use it as a company, but we're in the area, we're in the district.
Switch your vote.
He made the motion.
You made the motion.
I guess I've prohibited myself from that capital expense this year, so that's no problem. No problem.
Okay. Motion passes.
And that's gonna go to council, so maybe at council you also consider that as well.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with, I think it just needed to get done and move on.
Okay, next item on the agenda is discuss an upcoming schedule for advertising on the city's Highway 45 billboard.
So we talked about getting a schedule together, and I'm not saying that we need to come up with the exact schedule right now, but I want to kind of get the ball rolling as in the next 2 quarters, we're probably going to start thinking about working on the next message or the next design for the Highway 45 billboard that the city owns. We talked about, and the committee needs to actually decide, do we want to try to change that billboard more than on a, I think we did a 5-year rotation in the past or 3-year rotation. We should probably consider doing at least a 3, if not a 1-year rotation, just kind of have a fresh message out there. So I want to kind of get the ball rolling and see what you guys want to do for the theme. So what's the message? I just threw some ideas out here to get the ball rolling. Do we want to advertise for development and availability in our Northeast Business Park? Do we want to advertise, visit downtown New London? Do we want to advertise that New London's a great place to live and want to move here? Or is there something else? So, at least probably the next 3 years or more, I want to kind of get the committee's opinion on where do you guys want to go? What messages do you want to kind of promote? We don't have to figure out the design or anything right now, but just on a high level, what do you guys want to promote for the city? And keep that in mind. Obviously, we're talking about the city billboard, but next we're going to be talking about that digital billboard on Highway 15. That was the amended item. They kind of correlate in messages, so kind of keep that in the back of your head for the next agenda item discussion. So.
Does the city still plan to apply for, I know it was already applied for and denied, but do you still plan to apply for a grant to redo Pearl Street?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a possibility that downtown could be torn up for some time if that was approved.
So if we apply for the STP Urban Grant, which was the grant that we were awarded for North Water Street for this project, that has a 5-year cycle. So if we apply and if we are awarded, technically it's a DOT project. So this was a DOT project this year. They specify exactly what year the project will occur. So if we would apply in 2025 and get awarded, it could be designated for 2026, 7, 8, 9, or, next 5 years. So that's if we apply and if we get the grant, that's one thing. Number 2, you guys maybe saw on the news networks today that the federal government is really changing position on grants, and STP Urban is definitely a federally funded program. So I have no clue how that's going to affect some of these programs. If we apply for the grant in several cycles and don't get it, the council and the city is going to have to decide whether we're just going to fund it ourselves, because we're done. We're not going to apply for it for 20 years and not do it. So what year that Pearl Street would be on the docket right now is kind of up in the air, if that makes sense.
I know right now on the billboard, it has build in New London, right? Isn't it something about building?
Or, yep,
So maybe not consider living moving because we already hit that one.
Mhm.
I like really, Northeast Business Park. It would be nice if we could fill that up. I think that would be a good one
Mhm.
to hit on.
I agree.
And I know the visit downtown, the chamber kind of promotes that quite a bit on the other side.
Mhm.
So,
yeah, the tourism commission or tourism funding funds the tourism side in the past. So we haven't talked about with the commission if they want to do it on a yearly basis.
Yeah, I gotta
have
talk
no
to the board and see what, that's all new to them, so.
Right.
Yeah, see what, and we had talked about maybe sharing it with the school district. Every other year.
So do we want to target development in the Northeast Business Park next? Is that the priority for 2026? And what we've been trying to do is, because it's in a wet area, have everything ready to go that once the ground freezes, we can get in there and change it out.
I agree with Tim. I think we got it ready to build industrial park. We should, business center, we should promote it.
Feels like that's the next place to go.
I think it fits with the highway 15, people are, from point A to point B relatively quickly. Before you know it, you're going out there, it's like, holy cow, this isn't as far, so maybe for trucking,
Mhm.
once again, be repetitive, but we've got shovel ready, we've got rail near here, and we've got a highway. So it's it's set up pretty nice.
We have a lot of convenience going on. Okay. So I will, if everybody's kind of nodding their head, we'll kind of target the Northeast Business Center for the next round would be the 2026 cycle. Anybody wanna kind of think about the next one, 2027?
Nice to see what feedback, maybe see if anyone says, hey, look, I saw your billboard, maybe we run it, I don't know. Are you looking to schedule these, like the automatic rotations?
No, this would just be kind of get the juices flowing so we can, kind of just for planning. It seems like the last one we kind of did the last minute with just getting it ready and getting it done and getting the signage ordered and things like that. So I wanted to give us more lead time this time. And like I said, we don't have to decide that right now. If you guys are good with this, we can kind of bring this back up for another meeting, kind of let you guys chew on it a little bit, maybe kind of come up with the game plan for the next 2 years. I'm not going to sit here and just hold you guys to making a decision tonight by any means.
I think we should let's focus on the business park and then give us a little bit of time to think about and kind of see where New London's trending. We've had a lot of housing development going on in New London, so that might be the next place to go to, but let's kind of take a pause and pay attention to how New London is trending.
Cool.
So, okay. Okay, right into the next one is discuss options for advertising on a digital billboard on Highway 15 in Greenville.
If you recall, we did a partnership with several organizations in the city and did an advertisement on the digital billboard on Highway 15 in Greenville that's in front of the Sportomotive business in Greenville. We had partners including the city, the chamber, the school district, and 3 or 4 businesses in the community that jumped on board with this. Very successful. The businesses that got involved with us were very happy. I heard from more than one business saying that because we did a bulk group rate, that pricing came down, and they said they were ecstatic with the pricing. It was $150 for a week of advertising on a billboard, on the digital billboard, and they were ecstatic about it. So we thought we'd try to do it again. And we're kind of targeting that spring timeframe. We thought that You know, we've got Irish Fest coming up, so possibly maybe the Shamrock Club would want to advertise for Irish Fest all the way through, and we've got, you know, opportunities for local businesses and organizations to jump on, up to, we can advertise for tourism, with the sturgeon spawning in early April. So I've gotten information from Lamar, the digital billboard owner, the availability from that early March through mid-April. It's the same as last time. There was about 4 or 5 openings per week. And I put it out, April's helped me put it out there to the business community saying, are there any business partners that want to get involved again? I've got at least 3 business partners that have jumped on board already. And we're not committed to, you know, every single one of those open time slots for those 6 weeks. I mean, we can pick and choose whatever availability we have. But one option that we have in the city is we can advertise again. The price this round, the price did go up to $175 a week. That's what I've been quoted. But if we do that, I want to kind of ask you guys, what theme or message would you guys want to put out on the billboard, digital billboard this time? We did, if you guys remember, we did that license plate theme, that there was a license plate about, you know, housing or business, or just recreation, or, you know, the natural resources in our area. But is there a specific message you want to advertise this round on the billboard? And what I can do is just give that theme to the billboard company. They've got a design guy. There's no extra cost for us. He just puts it together and gives us some options. But it's kind of go time that if we want to put something together, for early March through April, we can advertise 1 week, we can advertise 6 weeks, depending on what's available.
Did we give them the theme last time, or I thought they came in with a few themes and then we selected?
In my initial conversations with them, we were kicking around ideas, and the design guy, or he called himself the art guy, came up with, he wanted to do a license plate theme for a while. So we just kind of ran with that.
He did.
Yeah, he came up with that idea for the license plate. We just kind of ran with it at that time. But then several of the businesses provided their artwork, and they just slapped it up on the billboard, and several businesses worked with that art guy in designing their messages and ads.
I'd definitely like to piggyback off of the Shamrock Club's theme. All roads are open in New London.
There you go. Oh, there you go.
So, you know, I don't didn't steal their theme, but I like that because we had so much construction last year. It was ridiculous. So I think that'd be a good direction to go in.
I think with what you said too, is promoting our business park as well.
And we can do more than one message. So this last time we had 3 messages. So how that works is there's 8 ads. Each ad runs 7.5 seconds per minute. So that's your rotation for 8 ads in a minute. So our first message was the first minute, the second message was the 3rd minute, our third message was the 3rd minute, 4th minute went back to our first message, and it just kept on rotating from there. So we can do multiple messages, you know, with that. Obviously, we don't want to give them 20 messages and just dilute ourselves too much, but we can do more than one.
Being
When
in the
we were
spring.
looking at our billboard design for the one that we have here in town, there was a series of designs that had continuity amongst them. Is there value in, and of which we ended up selecting one? We could use all of those. The design's already there. We liked the design. We chose that design. And it would also give continuity between our signage here and our signage there. Although, I guess by that time, will that sign be gone?
The
The-
power sign?
Yeah,
No,
the current sign that we have there now
On 45
on
will not be
45,
gone.
it will
That'll
not be
be-
gone.
That'll
So,
be up
so
for
yeah.
2025.
yeah, so. Well, but we're talking about 2026, correct? For this?
No.
No, we're talking about in a couple months.
Oh, okay, well, yeah, then let's use them. I mean, we've already got them, and so then there's kind of a theme, right? That carries through from Appleton to New London.
I like that idea.
Definitely an option.
And we had several themes, like you said, on that, didn't we? We just picked a conglomerate.
We picked one.
picked one.
We and modified it a little bit, but yeah.
I was just wondering, is there a way to ask Lamar if there's any other digital billboards that they own in the area?
Mhm.
Because, I mean, I like that it's affordable and it's close to New London, but I don't know if you guys know where it is. It's like, there's that tree kind of right there. It's
Yep.
on the other side of the road. It is kind of hard to see. But
You can actually see two flips from the stop sign until you pass it.
so I'm just
Yeah.
saying if,
But you gotta be paying attention.
yeah, you really
to-
gotta be looking for it. It's not like right in your face, so.
Yeah.
I've driven
Um,
by it, I haven't seen it yet. I've been by there probably
need to-
30
Because
need
it's
to be
on the other
driving
side of the
back.
road, and then
No.
there's like, you get like there and there's like a big tree in the way. And so, I mean, the price is right. I mean, some people will see it. I don't know what kind of feedback you guys got of people saying, hey, I saw the billboard.
Mhm.
But if there's, other billboards that maybe we can get into, maybe we want to try a
I
different
think
one.
they have one as you come out of the airport and you're going down College by the gas station there. I think they've got,
Lamar's got a great website with all their products. So I'm filtering out just the digital one. So this is the one here on Highway 15. I don't know if there must be 4 of them in this area. So there's one, is this the one by the airport you're talking about?
yes, there it is.
There.
Yep, that's the one.
Must be 2 on Wisconsin somewhere. So
And
Yeah.
a couple times that I've gone by the one on the airport, it has been blank. It has been off.
Mhm.
So I didn't know if it was not quite up and running yet or just hadn't been advertised, but I think that would be a good one to especially put like tourism and stuff on. Because people coming from the airport going into Appleton.
I can definitely ask. I have the impression that different billboards have different price themes depending on, where they are located. So
It is
I
a
have no-
larger billboard too.
Yeah.
So,
So, but I can definitely ask. I mean, I got the rep's email and he'll get back to me right away.
Quick Trip seems to like the one right here on 45. Holy cow,
mhm,
that's a big one. They like that one.
mhm.
Well, let's have them come back with a couple options to review next time. And
Can anybody tell me how the city benefits from putting stuff over by Greenville? Because if you're coming to town, say if you're going north, you're just gonna zoom right by, you ain't stopping here.
Mhm.
To me, it's a waste of money. How does the city benefit by advertising in Appleton or Greenville?
I think definitely promoting the activities like Irish Fest, sturgeon spawning, and just the awareness of New London to make sure people have.
Yeah, but the people that come to Irish Fest, they're gonna come anyways.
Mhm.
Whether they see it on a billboard or not. People know that the sturgeon spawn here. They've been doing it for hundreds of years. And they come. To me, it's just, I don't see how the city benefits of it.
Marketing and advertising. I mean, can I quantify it by this many people have seen it? No. It's just putting out awareness of being New London is so close.
The district administrator for the school said, the day after our message went out, the first phone call he got was from the Hortonville School District and said, how did you figure this benefit out? Cause he's trying to draw students into the area. So he was instantly interested in it. I heard lots of feedback. The chamber marketed Winter Wonderland for 4 weeks and I heard really great feedback and we saw the best attendance ever for Winter Wonderland. Now, whether those people saw that billboard or not, there's no way to measure it, but we have to figure out different ways to market our city and draw in tourism, draw in residents, recruit residents and employers.
Ultimately, it'd be sweet to have one right by Frick Ford somewhere, so you could promote your town right here.
I definitely think getting word about your community out in other communities is a great thing. That's how you advertise you here. That's how you get yourself put on the map. Part of bringing it back to the monetary value and what in that aspect don't know that you can put a number on that or a value on that, other than the value of having your name out there and the awareness of who we are, what we are, and where we are.
And I think if this was like a $20,000 project, it wouldn't be feasible. But $175 for a week here and there,
It's like that commercial 199ride.com.
woo!
Super
The more
cheap.
they
Jeez,
say
I'm
your
gonna
name, the more they see it.
Yeah.
It's just,
But again, with, like you said, most of the people in the area know what New London's about. They know what a sturgeon is. Bringing it back to Tim's fact that maybe where we're advertising may not be the right spot. Also because of the way it's facing. You're driving away, it's catching people that are coming from our direction.
I also think it's important to just try to stay on, it's so difficult to catch people's attention nowadays with social media and, you know, everybody kind of gets their information in a different way. We just heard from a business owner today in a meeting that the best way that she brands her business is by billboards.
That was a New London business that the
Mhm.
best route she's gone, the best feedback she's gotten is from billboards.
I definitely think advertising is good for the community, brings people in, they spend money, builds businesses. Residents want more businesses in town, convenience and everything like that, so it grows your community. If anything, I think we should, do more advertising, maybe on social media or something like that.
Mhm.
But I think promoting the city is a good thing.
And the cool thing about the program is because we're bulk purchasing and getting together with other partners, we're helping our business community advertise at a cheaper rate. You know, any of these other partners that wants to jump on. The last couple partners that we had, they said they can't, advertise that cheap because we're getting a little bit better deal because of the group purchase power.
Were the people that we were, or those partners that we were working with, did they say we would not be doing this but for this purchasing power?
Two of them that advertised last time jumped on board right away. And one said she was gonna wait a cycle, then revisit it. But at least two of them came back, said, we're back on, we're gonna advertise again.
Well, what I mean by that is, are the people that are taking advantage of this opportunity, are they taking advantage of this opportunity in a way that they would not be able to otherwise? Or is it just Tyson saying, hey, you guys got a really great rate, we're super happy to jump on board?
Mhm.
Or is it somebody saying, I've never had an opportunity to get on a billboard before, thank you so much?
I think two, and I'd have to ask these individuals that question, so I don't wanna put the words in their mouth. But like the two partners that jumped in, three partners that, expressed interest right now are small business. So they might not advertise in a different capacity because of this group power and, reasonable rate. Small business. Plus, remember you mentioned like Tyson, I'm kind of limiting this to City of New London within the corporate boundaries because taxpayers are paying for us to do this work. So Tyson's outside the city limits. I would turn around and say, sorry, you're outside the city limits. We're focusing on City of New London businesses and organizations. So I don't want to put this purchase power together for Hortonville businesses. They can do their own thing. If you want
I like
part of
the
the program, come and live in this or move to the city. We'll help you out.
idea, annex in
Yep.
Tyson. I like Hans's idea of using the themes that we had for the city's 45 billboard
Mhm.
as far as what the city would contribute to that. So I'd like to see that kind of mocked up, how they would do that. And I would like to see the other billboard options. That was one thing that when I drove by and I saw that billboard blank, and it was a Lamar billboard, digital billboard, right there on College Avenue from the airport going into town. I thought that was a good one, especially if there are people flying in or even, business people coming back home. who might be looking at other opportunities to get out of Appleton and do, explore the areas around. We all like to take a look at what's going on in other communities as well as when it comes to recreation. Visit other communities and see what they have to offer.
Yep.
So I would really like to see that billboard specifically, and then any of the billboards that would if there's any that are leading into New London as well,
Yep.
what those would look like.
And I can get that for like a future,
Yes.
project. This
Yeah,
round,
this round, we gotta stick to where we are
Yep.
time-wise.
Yep.
But I would like to see those things for future.
sure. Well, if the committee is good with it and you can make a motion, I'll focus on, the advertising, with the themes that we had for the city's Highway 45 billboard to kind of mimic that and it might be a quick turnaround because if you want me to bring it back for next month for you guys to kind of look at, or just tell me to run with it and we'll mimic what we did last time on the city billboard and kind of get things going. But my goal is whatever's available between those 6 weeks, I'm gonna let the businesses and organizations fill in first, and then we would fill in a little bit in between that. So
Okay.
if there's 4 weeks, or if there's 4 ads available for a week and 4 businesses want to jump on that, let them go with it. We'll fill in around it. We're kind of, half of this is just to kind of support our business community, to give them opportunity to advertise.
So once again, we would need to make a motion to block those 6 weeks. What's available in those 6 weeks is what you're kind of looking for.
I would say just direct the city administrator to promote on the digital billboard, using the advertisements that we used for the Highway 45 project and go with it with that. I mean, I don't think it's really necessary to say advertise week 2, week 4, week 6.
No, I didn't mean to do the specific weeks, but last time we had to front the money and then the businesses had to reimburse us,
Yes.
correct?
And that would be the game plan again. We have to do that to get the recruit rate.
So that's the motion that we would need to have for those funds, and we don't know exactly, do we know what that number is at this moment?
There's several weeks that have 4 ads available and several weeks that have 5 ads available. So my game plan was just to find out who's available first and then reserve what's ever available within that week. I'm not gonna commit that we're gonna purchase everything.
Okay,
I'll first figure out who's interested, get all those partners together, come together with a meeting. All right, who wants to advertise when? We'll fill in a little bit in the blanks there and
and then we would have those details by next meeting to approve funds. I'm thinking about how are we approving
Yeah,
these?
I don't think you really have to specify that
Okay,
in detail. Just direct the city administrator if you want us to advertise. If you want the city to advertise on the billboard, just direct me to kind of within that time frame, within those 6 weeks. Work with our business community on advertising that billboard. I think I need that flexibility right now because I don't have it exactly figured out.
okay, and that was
Yep.
my concern with it being so close to that time frame.
Yep.
You've got 3 weeks to get this done,
Yeah,
right?
but I'll definitely report on the progress at the next meeting for sure.
Okay. Okay. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to direct staff to orchestrate the billboard on Highway 15, using economic development funds for those 6 weeks in March.
Yep.
In early April.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by April. Any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. The ayes have it with 1 in opposition. Okay, updates and reports, business updates, April.
All right, I got a couple business updates for you. The first being a new business that is coming soon, March 1st. 1200 North Shawano Street, Suite 5 is just north of Subway. I think I'm saying this right. Nikomex grocery store will be coming. They signed a year lease with Kurt over in that development. So look forward to that coming soon. Next is a business renovation, Taqueria Luciano. It's a Mexican restaurant right down on North Water Street. It has closed down for the time being. They're gonna build a bar and they hope to be reopened for Irish Fest weekend. So look forward to that. Next is another business renovation. Pam and Yash are the owners of that property and they shared that Taco Bell. They were a little worried. They weren't sure if Taco Bell was gonna sign on for a lease, but they signed on for a long-term lease and they have committed to some new renovations up to $700,000 in 2025. So look forward to that. We did have a business closing due to retirement, Ameriprise Financial on North Water Street. Mr. Heidemann has retired, but Michael St. Marie is still open up on Pearl Street for Ameriprise. He closed in December 2024, leaving a vacant office. Just a reminder that the chamber does list all commercial vacancies on our chamber website. You do not need to be a chamber member to have a commercial vacancy, lease or sale option. There's a business after hours coming up that I invite the entire committee to. The Vault is a new business downtown on North Water Street. They're partnering with Real Estate by Jeffrey. They're located at 310 West North Water Street. February 6th at 5 o'clock. There's going to be some drinks and appetizers. I believe they're going to bring in some Jolly Rogers pizza. So I invite all of you to come network and have some good conversation. Commercial listings, not much has changed except for Chad and I were made aware, I think he put this in his report, that Wolf River Plaza is slashing that price. Again, we don't have an exact price on what that's going to be, but it looks like they really want to get that property off their hands. So Chad and I have reached out to a couple investors to see if there's any interest there in purchasing that property. It does need some TLC, needs some work. So hopefully somebody signs on to that. Are there any questions for me?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a belief or a perception that New London is gonna benefit from the NFL draft in any way? And is there something that this committee or that the city should be doing to help with that?
So we've been having many conversations. The marketing committee has met a few times to talk about the draft, and we hope to partner with Rawhide, because they have the Bart and Cherry Star Museum. So they're hoping to bring in some transportation from the draft to tour the museum, and we're hoping that we can kind of capitalize on that. I've reached out to both of our hotels, American and Quality Inn. They're both full for that week. And what we'd like to do is create some sort of welcome bag package, whether it be like a list of all the deals or specials. Here's a mural tour, things to do, places to dine, and give out welcome bags to all those guests that are coming into the NFL draft. What am I missing from that? Those
We're gonna
conversations?
reach out to local businesses to see if they are gonna do any specials and seeing if we can, get that somewhere to, in a centralized location. April was talking about putting some flyers together and information at the hotels and, hopefully we can, the people that are coming from the draft to go to Rawhide, hopefully we can have them stop here for, dinner or a drink. If you're from Texas, have you ever had old fashioned? Start promoting some of the things that make Wisconsin who we are.
We also connected with Double J Shuttle, who's a private business in town. He has 14 buses booked. He's going to release that schedule, so we're gonna see some traffic.
When is the draft again?
April 25th, 26th, and 27th, I believe.
Sounds right. Yeah. We talking about billboards. I did reach out to Lamar to see what it would be to advertise on a digital billboard specifically for the draft. And that cost was very cost prohibitive for us to, if we were targeting,
Definitely
that
doesn't
draft
sense.
population. I didn't even bring it to this committee because it was, didn't even want to address it. So,
Everything's
oh yeah,
is high for the weekend of draft.
Yep.
Motel rooms, everything.
yeah.
Yep, they're gonna capitalize on the traffic, for sure.
There's somebody near New London who has an Airbnb. They said that for that draft period, they're getting $5,000 for their Airbnb. For that 4 or 5 days,
Too
whatever.
bad
it
you
was.
don't
I'll just stay with
own a
my
couple
parents and
houses
just
in
rent my
Green Bay.
house out.
Rent them out for 20 grand.
Stay on my fishing raft for 3,000,
Good.
catch a sturgeon while you're there.
Okay. Respecting Bill's time. the city administrator's report.
So one thing in the past, we talked about considering to move forward with a hotel feasibility study. April and I reached out and had a conversation with a rep from Core Distinction Group. This is one of the groups that was recommended from the hotel company to talk to consider about hotel feasibility study. Gained some great information about what we're looking for, because I've never done a hotel feasibility study, so I didn't have any idea for what are the questions asked, what are the things we want. So with that consideration, she gave me some really good information. I haven't even, some documents that I haven't even dug into yet. But she stated that 85% of their work for this Core Distinction Group is typically for municipalities. So it's pretty normal that the municipality initiates this study to see about bringing hotels into their community. Talked about, getting performas, and that we definitely want to ask for a return on investment for that feasibility study. The point of this is that the main hotel companies, the corporations, don't come in and pluck down a hotel anymore. It's all franchised and local investors that do this. So what they do is that once this hotel feasibility study is done, they take that information and then they go to the local community for investors, whether it's banks, whether it's private investors, to get enough investors to come together to fund the hotel. And it's a franchise situation, locally owned.
Who's they? The franchisees?
The franchisees would do that. So in this case, the hotel, she called it brand names. So the brand names would come in and start the process, but in the end, it would be franchise owned by local investors.
And they would use the study that we produced.
Correct. So that is the justification to try to get the investors to become part of the project. So we have to initiate that. She did say the magic number is 50. So if your report comes back saying that, hey, your community can only support 30 rooms, the magic number is 50 rooms. So that's the number that they look at for putting together a good project, I guess. And then she did say, I asked her, well, how much do these hotel feasibility study cost? And she said, you can expect the study to be anywhere from 10,000 to 20,000. Depending on what we all include, and halfway through the project if we need more information. But she thought a budget number of 10 to 20,000 would be the range for something like that. I did talk to somebody about this, and a hotel group, and this is a cost that we possibly could get reimbursed with after the fact. No promises with that, but that is an option with all this. But the hotel companies can't initiate that. We have to initiate, and it has to be like a third party pretty much that puts this information together. So it's not the hotels trying to lead investors in the wrong direction and
Okay.
tainting a study. It's got to be a third party independent doing that for the investors.
What's the shelf life of these studies?
She mentioned that. She did say that the report will come up with a number of rooms recommended. The magic number is at least 50 rooms to make it worthwhile. If not now, they would come back in 2.5 to 3 years to revisit the numbers. So it sounds like after 2.5 or 3 years, that's their cycle, that they would relook at all the numbers and all the interest and all the need in New London to see if our numbers have changed to justify.
So if it came back at 40 in about 2.5 to 3 years, they would look at it
Relook at it.
again to see if we made it to 50 or 60.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
We would have to pay again?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope, one time. And we'd have that support for that.
Yep.
Shelf life.
How many rooms are in the hotels now?
Good question. I could look that up and report back.
Mm-hmm.
I have,
I mean, that would be something.
And the whole point of this is to see, can we support another hotel?
That's why I was
Yep.
wondering how
We don't-
many rooms we have now.
We don't want to encourage and put another hotel that really jeopardizes what we have already. Let's not dilute it too far, but if we can support it as we're growing, that's another facet of New London that we want, possibly could see some growth.
Is that the purpose of the study as well, to say that we don't want to just, because people go to the new and shiny, if it's a new and shiny, then they would probably not go to the other two.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So it'd be in addition to,
Correct.
you almost have to sell out the new and shiny to have the overflow, I'm guessing.
Or the price points of the new and shiny might be too high, that, the existing might be at a better price point too.
American has 49 rooms. Doesn't sound right. You think that they could have 50? Maybe it's 50 and then we charge them we don't charge them for one room.
And I remember she mentioned that one of the big things is they really reach out to the business community and see who's coming in to the city, like on weekday basis. Because obviously you have your weekend traffic, but what's spurring that need during the week? So they talked about their business community, really finding out what people are moving around to try to see the need in that aspect as well.
Okay. Quality Inn was 38 rooms.
Okay. Anything else, Chad?
That's it.
Okay. Reviewing potential agenda items for the future would be the report on the New London Community Fund,
Mhm.
the hotel feasibility study, transportation updates, childcare updates, housing updates, and obviously billboard updates. Would be a D item. Review the next meeting date. Would be the 25th of February. Are there any conflicts with that? I should be back, so none with me. So the 25th at 5:15?
Mhm.
Okay. At this time, we're going to go into closed session. Per the statutory exemption of 19.85 subset 1 subset E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or consider other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session regarding developments in the Northeast Business Center. Those invited to remain in closed session are obviously the Economic Development Committee, Common Council members, Mayor Mark, and City Administrator Chadber. Okay, so I need a motion for moving into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session.
Motion by Tim, second by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing none, we will take about a 30-second break here.